Welcome to County Council tonight. Would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's County Council meeting. If you have electronic devices, phones, whatever, please silence them or set them to vibrate. Also like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Yes, you heard me say Christmas, not holiday. Merry Christmas. Thankful for all the county employees, hard work they put in. Appreciate them. I don't think we'll be meeting again before the end of the year, so I just want to get that out there. Everybody's been sent a copy of the minutes and the emails. Are there any additional changes that need to be made to the November 2nd minutes?
Make a motion to be approved as written.
Second. A motion to approve the minutes from November 2nd's meeting. We have a second on that. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Send it down for signatures, please. We have no mail. Our county attorney is not here tonight. We have no committee reports. Commissioner, President Strong, do you have anything to share with us?
Yes, if you want me to go first, I will.
You're up. I didn't run past you this time at least.
Okay. Okay, I'll report on what the commissioners did today. And first of all, I want to report on an item that will be of interest to Councilman Stewart. Bob?
Yes, sir.
The attic of the courthouse is now fully insulated.
Wonderful.
For your information, it's only taken 172 years.
Is he still on the payroll?
He's still on the payroll, yeah. But we got that project done, and it's just one of the many things that I've been trying to get cleaned up around here, you know, that's been put off for a lot of years. So going forward, I'm going to track the number of cubic feet of natural gas that we use to heat this building and see if we can calculate a long-term savings on it. So I wanted to make sure you knew
Okay.
that I got that job done.
We might need the savings.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Don't elaborate on that.
That's just one of a number of things we've been working on. So we've got that one done. I want to make sure you know
Thank you.
that. Also, this past week we did get the final portion of our community crossing projects finished last week. We had some additional road striping done. We got road striping done on 450 East, Alquina Road, and Columbia Road. And I hope that people that use those roads are happy with it. So it's a single yellow line. It'll just be very helpful, especially on rainy or foggy nights. So that wrapped up the entirety of our community crossings program for this year. Also, in today's meeting, we approved the commissioners' meeting schedule for 2022. We left it the same as it is now, and I assume that you folks will probably do the same for your schedule tonight. It works out well, us meeting in the commissioners in the afternoon and council at this time of day. And so of particular interest, the commissioners also approved their capital improvement plan for ARPA funds. For the remainder of the time that these ARPA funds are going to be available. I have emailed a copy of that capital plan to all of you. Has everyone seen it?
Yes.
Okay. For the benefit of those listening, both here in the audience and at home, I'll just highlight what this means. Our capital improvement plan for ARPA funds, which will total a little over $4.48 million, has been narrowed down to 4 main projects, and the first and largest project in the plan is the jail annex and renovation of the Dollar General store that we've talked about many times. The estimated cost of that project is approximately $3.1 million plus soft costs. We plan to renovate that building that is already owned by the county as a jail annex to provide up to 62 additional beds and allow the ability to isolate inmates as needed in the main jail while reducing the overall population, and as an additional benefit, allow the provision of a work release program for female offenders, ending the discriminatory practice of work release for men and not for women. Also, to replace the air handling system at the current jail in order to mitigate or minimize the spread of airborne viruses and diseases within the general population at the jail. And the estimated cost of that project right now is $450,000. Also, the St. Jude water distribution system, which is currently fails to meet the minimum standards required by IDEM. We have called for a feasibility study on this project that we have not received yet. But by early estimates from the engineering company, we expect that project to come in the $650,000 to $750,000 range, and that's approximate. We don't know yet what the feasibility study will say about that. Now, as an alternative project, should any money be left after these 3 main projects, as an alternative, we have a request from the Everton Sewer District for assistance in needed repair work on their sewer system. And they say that their project would total $656,000. We haven't promised them that we will be able to help them yet. But if there's anything left over after everything else is done, we are including them as an alternative project. And if there's any help we can lend them this way, we will do it. If not, perhaps there will be an opportunity after we receive funds from the bill that the Congress recently passed on infrastructure. But I haven't seen anything yet about what Fayette County's allocation in that might be. So we'll cover that when it gets here, I guess. So that is just the highlights of our capital improvement plan. And like I said, we did approve that today. We also approved a contract agreement between the commissioners and the engineering company, DLZ, and we have obligated ourselves to pay DLZ a total of $240,000 for their engineering services relating to the Dollar General project. That all, and if you haven't seen this contract, it's quite large. And if you haven't seen it, I'll be glad to send you an electronic copy of it. So we have agreed to the terms of this agreement. Now, I'm telling you this because before this agreement can be actually put into place, or we can continue on to our capital improvement plan going forward, we will need to ask this council for an appropriation to cover the engineering services required in this project. So I'm going to stand here tonight and ask this council for an appropriation from ARPA funds for $240,000 to pay the engineering and planning services provided by DLZ.
Commissioner Strong?
At this point, I'll answer any questions you have.
The jail annex project, the Dollar General project, is a female retention facility. And as you know, in the past I've had 3 reservations about it. One was the use of ARPA funds. I believed then that the use of ARPA funds is for future development, not current needs. And I still believe that. But you're aware of what I do for a living. A few weeks ago I had a meeting with a client who couldn't really afford to do what she needed to do. She could only afford to do what she could do. And I got to thinking about it afterwards, how that related to my life as a young man and how it relates to our community. In Fayette County government, our finances are better, but as a community, I don't know that we are. And I just kind of think that we're at a place where we can't do necessarily what we need to do. We can only do what we can do. And so I'm dropping my objections to the use of the ARPA funds. I believe it's allowable. As long as it's allowable, I'm on board with it. The second objection I had, which was the main one, was we were spending a lot of money on something that didn't completely get rid of our jail overcrowding. It doesn't take a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist to understand that a new or renovated jail would take care of that situation, but it also doesn't take much of a rocket scientist or brain surgeon to figure out that we just can't afford that. That's just not possible. And I've known that for a long time. So a couple of months ago, as you know, I began working with Sheriff Laughlin and Prosecutor Jones to figure out if there's a way to improve the project or complement the project in some way to drive those incarceration numbers down. And what we found was that if we did a couple of things to complement it, we might be able to drive it down a little, but not in a substantive way that would be cost effective. I've always known that this project would take care of a lot of our jail overcrowding issues, and something's better than nothing. And we've got to give our jail officers a safer place to work. So my objection in that regard is going away too. The last objection I had to it was, how in the world are we going to maintain it? And a few weeks ago, Councilwoman Nobby and Councilman Clark and I found ourselves in a room together waiting to talk about another situation we've got. And we all realized that we were on the same page. that we were concerned about how we would maintain it. So as you know, Councilman Clark and I got together with you and Sheriff Laughlin and Corrections Director Dudley, and we started talking about the project a little bit. And we figured out with a little adjustment, we wouldn't need 15 employees. We'd really maybe only need 10. And so Councilman Clark got to work and put together a plan. Now, Councilwoman Nobby can speak for herself, but it's my understanding she's been shown this and likes it, and I like it too. And I want to kind of turn it over to Councilman Clark and let him show the rest of the council.
Thank you, Scott. After we met with Michelle and Joey and Zach Jones and Dale and Scott and I all met together discussing the project and where it was going. My belief, I know we kind of approached it initially as a community corrections project, and very early in our meeting, well, with Joey and Michelle there, it became evident it was actually going to be a county project connected with the jail. As Michelle put it, we can't have two bosses over there, and since the majority of it's going to be used for retention, the idea of the facility and what it's going to do to help our overcrowding and to give prospective females a chance to regain control of their life through work release. And as Michelle said, a facility like this, the closest one I believe she said was Madison County. So I think we will attract females from other courts to maybe go through this program in short order. But I think several of our issues in the altogether was fine, ARPA funds are going to build a building, but how are we going to afford to staff it, and which is going to be the biggest expense once it's up. Utilities is nothing. And I began getting with Jane, and I'll pass these down to everybody. I got with Jane on some figures, and I created a spreadsheet to look at one fund to help support the employees' compensation for this project, and that would be the jail fund, jail tax, whatever you want to call it. It's Fund 1233. And these are the figures I came up with to show how we can do this with this fund. First of all, on the spreadsheet, next to the years, we've got 19 years left in this jail tax fund. It's a 22-year tax. At the end of that 22 years, it stops unless state legislature or somebody extends it, because I don't believe jails 20 years from now are going to be in any better shape than they are today. So the far left-hand column is the years all the way out to 2041. The second column is our revenue that we're getting from this tax each year. And obviously we're just into our second year currently and getting ready to go into our third year. The third year is the state's already projected what our income is going to be from it. And you can see our budgets just to the next column to the right of that. First two are actual, and the 2022 is what we've approved here for the next year's budget. And I assume that each year that we come up with a budget, that all of that budget will be spent. Usually there's not much money left over at the end of the year on funds. Trying to make this sheet up in the worst case scenario. First of all, you can see I only allocated $800,000 from 2023 on, because this is an income tax based on employees and wages that they make, and who knows what that's going to be. So I wanted to go low, and I also figured spending all that money. At the end of this 20 years, this money's going to be gone. So the budget items are shown in there, like for 2022. Each year after this, those line items that were listed in this year need to be reduced in value approximately $50,000 a year until they're wrapped back into county general or the funds from which they originally came from in 2020. There's plenty of room for fudge factor. You'll see in here, some years they may only be able to do 30, some years they may not be able to do the 50, but there's going to be room to get that little down in the future. One thing that Zach brought up, there's been talk about needing 15 employees over there, and that came about based on you need 2 jail officers and 1 person in the control room over there, just like any other jail. For each position you have, it has to have 24/7 employees. That takes 5 people. So 3 times 5, that's 15. Zach mentioned, and Joey, that the control room at the jail, the cameras, and the lock system is in grave need of being updated. And Joey says the council's going to have to face this sooner or later because the cameras are old tech. And Zach said the easiest way to help the employee situation over there would be when we build, or when they design and build, remodel the Dollar General building, make it with equipment, and plan ahead that the control room over at the current jail will be updated with compatible equipment to where we only need 1 person in a control room at the jail to operate both buildings. We talked about that for a while, and afterwards I thought we should make it so you can operate either building from either control room. Harold Steele, I think, would have appreciated having a separate control room from the one at the jail some years back when he was sheriff, and the prisoners took over the jail. So in today's electronics, I'm pretty sure this is a pretty easy interface, maybe wireless. It wouldn't have to be hardwired. So this whole thing is based on supporting 10 employees over there. Jane, if you done hide F and G.
You want to see if I know what I'm doing, aren't you? Nope.
Okay, well, it's okay. Either way.
There.
Okay. So based on 10 employees, I used a figure. Oh, I'm sorry. I gave you the wrong columns. You can leave them up there. I need I, J, and K. I'm sorry. All right. There we go. That looks better.
Do we hide F and G for now?
Okay, so based on 10 employees and based on 2 years to get the project done over there, starting in 2024, using $35,000 a year salary, even though the current's only $33,000 for start, and $15,000 for benefits. Each employee will be about $50,000. If there's no raises given between now and 2024, then that can be lowered to $48,000. But 10 employees a year, $50,000 is $500,000. If you notice the salary is $51,000 next year, what I did, worst case scenario, is every year I'd increase the salary by $1,000. Either benefits or salary over that time. Salary may go up $2,000 one year, nothing the next year. But I imagine with COVID, our insurance is going. Insurance companies are going to start recovering money here in the next few years, so we had to allow something for that. So increasing their salaries $1,000 a year and fully funding 10 positions for the first 6 years. After the 6th year, then reduce 1 position a year till we go down to 0 back into the county general jail fund. Does everybody understand what I'm doing here? So that shows you what the yearly total salaries is going to be over there in the far right-hand column. Now we can go back to F&G. When we merge these two together, FRF is just an acronym I use for the facility. It's Female Retention Facility. Wrapping those salaries into the budgets over there and our annual income and what we're budgeting, column G, which says balance year end for the FRF fund, that's for this fund. This is what our year end balance would be for this fund, even fully funding those 10 employees for the first 6 years. And what it would be all the way at the end, and you see at the 2041 when this is done, if this is basically followed, and I realize there's going to be things over the years that may change, we'll end up with $7.8 million still left in the fund. Things that can make this go better is, one, we know the $800,000 is probably going to be more than this in many of the years. The salaries, I hope, are going to go up over 20 years. Things that can go better to help this. By 2024, we may have enough surplus in our general fund that we could go ahead and fund 2 of the employees right off the bat. So we start out only having to fully fund the other 8 and then reduce from there. If we get good enough ahead, we could even only fully fund them for 4 years and then start the reduction. Again, this has to be folded back into county general, so don't get anxious. I'm trying to do this real slow so we can absorb it every year and still have money left over in this fund. And you can see with the balances we have at the year end, if an emergency comes up at the jail or one of the facilities that we don't have funds budgeted for and not in the general, most years are over $1 million in there, and once we get out 10 years, we got almost $2.5 million in there to allow for those maintenance issues, updates, or software, computers, whatever we may need. So with that, I'm fully confident. One of the things that worried me was how councils would handle this 10 years out, and I showed this to Jane, make sure I didn't have some missed figures and stuff in here. And what she told, what she said made sense to me. I said, we can only plan for us today, and we can't be responsible for what people are going to do 10 years from now. So it is going to take a lot of discipline on the council and the future sheriffs on their budget to watch where this is going. I think the facility is going to bring a lot to the community. If we get a windfall and the government says, here's $42 million, build yourself a new jail, fine, we can convert this into a juvenile detention center. It's adequate for this. It's 62 beds. I believe 18 of them are for community corrections, if I remember right, Michelle. Both sections are made up to jail standards for retention of prisoners. They're all controlled and stuff like that. So if the community corrections gets down, there's room to move more females into that. It frees up 2 cell blocks at the jail that they currently don't have. So this is what I came with. I showed it to Kayla and Scott and Jane, and talked with Mike just was it Monday morning, I guess, Friday morning. Friday morning too about it. But this is a plan I came up with, and I think it, to me, it covers my biggest worry, how we were going to fund employees. Now, with current employment, whether we can hire people, maybe, and another thing that could help us out too is a sheriff may not want to hire full-time over there for a couple of weekend positions. They may want to go to part-time, and that's, again, savings to this. I tried to go worst-case scenario on it, so be glad to answer any questions.
The current work release program is funded
state, are we not gonna get any of that here?
No, because this is a jail facility. It's not a separate building. Michelle's people will still work here on the jail release part of it. But the mandating of the facility, because it is a jail with female prisoners in it. And she will have probably funds to donate, forward, to utilize during construction, updates, and maintenance during the years. I'm hoping maybe some of the money could be used for this interconnect between the jail.
Being partially a work release program, can we get partial funding for it?
That'll be up to the commissioners. If they want to charge for something for having it, but one thing we talked about to Michelle was because she solely supported on grants and project income, could she ask for more money on her grants?
Well, if you've got 10 employees and you're using 10% of your facility for work release, I wonder if not you could get 10 or 20% of the money from the federal or from the state to help fund the employees.
But you know, whether you can or can't, John's plan is worst case scenario.
Right.
Worst case scenario, we don't have that as an option. And what John, I think this is excellent work by Councilman Clark to show that okay, we can, but we're going to have to be very disciplined. Future councils are going to have to be very disciplined between now and 2041 at the end of the jail local income tax, and to make sure that this works, because there will be dire consequences for us financially if future councils stray too far. And but I think this is excellent work. I'm willing to go along with it. I hope you folks are, and I'm willing to make a motion tonight to appropriate the $240,000 to cover DLZ's contractual services for the female retention facility at the Dollar General.
Yeah, out of the ARPA funds.
Out of the ARPA funds, correct.
The one thing I like about the way this is laid out for the public is the building was actually bought by Community Corrections, and I don't know whose name it's officially in, but they supplied the money for when we bought the building. And this is a tax that's already in place, and I see no effects to our tax base till 2041, maybe because of this project. Maybe some, as we fold employees back in, I don't know it. Who knows what the state will do? And you know, the idea is to build up our county general fund and other funds, as we have been doing the last 4 or 5 years. Want to continue to do that. So to me, it's just a plus. And who knows how many females we're going to help, between over this 20-year period that won't get help, that don't have help now. So that's,
I wouldn't question the plan, I just wanted to add to it.
yeah, well, I mean, we've got 2 years to work out what's going on here, and I know Michelle's going to have input, and
And John's plan is worst case scenario, like
Yeah.
he was saying. So this is our backup plan if nothing else works out.
I'm hoping in 2 years we'll have, our funds will continue to grow and stuff, that we'll be able to start out only having to fund 8 or, who knows, maybe 7. It's just, if we don't, something happens, another pandemic hits or whatever, COVID-20 or 22 or, that was the main thing that I think most of us was worried about. How were we going to fund it? Once it opened, we have to have people there.
I like what
air
John's
conditioning,
done.
huh?
I like what you've done. You put a lot of thought in this and alleviated, I think, a lot of concerns that most of us had.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion of Scott's. Not more further discussion.
A couple of questions I have, Dale. When's the last time you got an update on the price? Because, materials have gone up in the past year. It's hard to get stuff. Have you got $310,000, wasn't that last year? Let's get through that price to us.
You mean the 3.1 million?
Yeah. Well, we always do 310,000.
Sure. I don't think I don't think anybody can realistically answer that question right now.
Well, that's the scary thing is we're figuring on 3.1. If this get going, and I agree with what you're saying to some of it, but you know, I work with architects, and they still got to come up with numbers. I mean, they just can't start a project and just, you know, spitball it and say we're going to be close to this. I mean, if we can get a more realistic number, I think that'd be helpful. That doesn't prevent us from going ahead with the design. And then the other concern I have, and I kind of talked about this, to me it's like we got a puzzle set here. And we got 4 pieces from 4 different sets. We got the Annex, we got the Dollar General store, we got the corrections, and we got the jail. What I'd like to see is how down the road we can get those puzzle pieces to interact with one another so that we're not redoing something twice. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be, I'm not talking a new jail, what Scott says, we got to work with what we have, which isn't much. And we just can't put ourselves into debt. So could this somehow be tied into some future expansion down the road or whatever? Whatever time frame that is, whether it's 20 years from now, whether it's 15 years from now, whatever. That could be thought of during the design process. Again, it's not a deal breaker, but it's some of the things she mentioned to DLZ and RQAW when they did their presentation. I don't think this is exclusive to them, but they had mentioned to us when they do jail, they do things like this, that there's some funding process by which we don't pay anything until we take possession of the building. And they're locked into whatever they bid the project at. So if they said 3.1 million, it came out to 3.2, then they'd have to pick up that difference. Do you remember them talking about that?
Yes, I remember.
And I know it's not exclusive to RQAW. So DLZ must have something like it too. I don't know what it was called, I don't remember. But that would help us too, where we wouldn't have to pay out that money right away. We would pay it when we took possession, occupancy of that building.
Right.
So it gives us another 2.5 years to grow with that money.
Now, as I recall, during those discussions were all pre-ARPA days. We were not only considering how to manage the project, but how to pay for the project, how to finance the project. And there's where the build, operate, transfer concept was discussed, where we wouldn't have to actually start paying for anything until the project was done. We took possession of it. But that we were considering accumulating a debt of probably over $3 million, $3 to $3.5 million of debt to do the project that way. Now, since we do have the advantage of the ARPA funds coming in since that discussion, we can construct the project and accumulate zero debt. That's the beauty of this whole thing. We're not putting the taxpayers into debt with this project. And this is a one-time opportunity. So as far as making this project coordinate with our other facilities in the future, I think we're probably we're only going to be limited by our imagination and the amount of money we have, to spend on it. And then you've got to balance those with your needs at the time. I don't know what our jail needs will be 20 or 30 years from now. But the old jail sitting right next to our current jail over there served as a jail for 109 years. And our current jail was only built in 1989. So I think we ought to, if it lasts until 2089, I'll be happy. I don't think I'll be here to celebrate that. But it's reasonable to assume that with proper maintenance and care of that building, it can last us a long, long time yet. I don't know. Hopefully, by whoever's running this thing, then will have better opportunities at funding and coming up with ways to solve these problems than we have. But we've been living in some pretty lean years here for the last several years. So right now, this does this will address our original problem of jail overcrowding that the state jail inspectors have written us up for on more than one occasion, with the added benefit of providing a work release program for female offenders, which we currently do not have, that causes female offenders to sit in jail when they don't really have to. So that should even further augment our ability to reduce the jail population, and it certainly would eliminate the discriminatory practice of not allowing women the same opportunities as men. If I ask the question, does everyone here believe in equal rights? Everyone, I'm sure they'd say, yes, we do. Well, it's going to cost you. You know, everything's got a price on it. But the investment we're making here, I think that will have a long-term positive benefit on lives of people that we're not even aware of yet. Because I don't think that anyone currently in our jail set out that day to deliberately go there. They either thought, well, I'm only going to do this one time, or I'm not doing anything that nobody else hasn't done, or I'm not going to get caught, or whatever. And you know, for one reason or another, they wind up there, and who knows who will be next. It may be one of your grandchildren. Maybe your granddaughter, maybe your wife, maybe your daughter. Who knows who it's going to be? And when it does hit home, you know, and it hits when it does hit home, the value of a program like this would have an entirely different meaning to you. So this will benefit certainly women in this community that we don't even know, haven't even heard of yet. You know?
Are you looking at upgrading the security for the jail department to tie it all together, like Zach had suggested? The control room and all that, the security, the cameras.
Yes.
Will that be a part of it?
Yes.
I think that's a good thing to upgrade that all at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comment on that, as long as they know that during the building of it, and from right now, that whatever system they have to put in should have the capacity to control it both buildings. And, you know, from Dollar General, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit more because there's but they're probably just electronic switches and a few more monitors. But they have to have the capacity for recording and stuff too, in case. And then if they update the jail in the next 2 years, if there's money, or there's probably even money left in this jail, that go ahead and get started on that. As long as both systems are compatible with interconnecting, why, if they're done exactly the same month or year, why, they just have to know it in their plan that they need to be. And the commissioners need to know that when they let the contracts.
Well, John, if council makes this appropriation this evening, that will obligate us and lock us in on this project. Prior to anything being done, certainly we would have to have further consultation with DLZ, which I would insist that members of council be involved in, to make sure that everyone is on the same page from day one. To make it clear that this is the direction we're going in. This is exactly what we want, and the contract agreement here gives plenty of room for us to adjust the plan accordingly without any penalties, other than if you want to add something to the project that is going to cost more money, you're going to have to pay for it. But it's a pretty flexible agreement.
We got a motion on the floor, seconded. I'm ready to put it out there. Is there any other questions?
Do we have a roll call on this one?
Navi,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Bevington,
Yes.
Riker Peyton? Yes. Winter?
Yes.
Thank you all very much. And to council members Bevington and Clark, I want to commend you on the excellent and careful consideration and deliberation that you've given the finances of this project to. Your work is appreciated by me, and I think you've done a good job on that. Thank you all.
Okay, moving on, there's no old business. Going to new business. Here are 2022 salary ordinance, ordinance number 2021-09. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
To approve? Jim, I'm assuming that's to approve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to approve ordinance 2021-09. In a second, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I think somebody might have borrowed it and looked at a couple of the other
I
ordinances.
looked at, but it's there, I left it there.
Is it stuck?
Should be there, should be at the bottom.
Okay, stipend in lieu of health insurance, ordinance 2021-10. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion approved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes, whatever.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Mine went blank. We'll send it down for signatures. Next one is our HSA ordinance, ordinance number 2021-11. An ordinance allowing deposits from county funds to employee health savings accounts. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, motion.
No motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Getting ahead of myself. We have a motion to approve, seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Slow it down a little, Mike. 2022, a calendar for meeting claims and additional appropriation requests.
I'll make a motion, pass it.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify. We have a motion on the floor, seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Was there one for that? Did I miss it? Did you have an ordinance for that one?
No, there wasn't an
Okay. Health Department, you were on the agenda, right? You want to? Oh, okay. You sure? You probably go ahead and take my job. You do better than I do tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, transfer request. Clerk. Is here with me?
Yeah, she's here.
I
Behind her.
can't see her.
Go ahead.
Hi, Lisa. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not as good as you.
Not as good as me.
Receive a transfer request for $374.86.
Yes.
Okay. Transfer to cover payroll for part-time employee, that was the employee that we let you bring back earlier, that you were gonna shuffle runs funds around for, right?
My part-time employee
Okay,
is, we just want to finish paying her through the year.
sure. Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'm assuming Jim says to approve, so the motion on the floor to approve the clerk's transfer request for $374.86. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. That was easy.
Do we want to address my 144 while I'm here?
Yes, let's
Okay.
do that.
So I had an employee leave to go to the recorder's office. I would like to replace her with Amy Coffey. Amy has experience in child support. She's worked in Wayne County, and I'd like to bring her on, and commissioners approved that earlier this afternoon. And then my employee that I lost during the cut when we made our COVID cuts, I would like to bring on Gina Fluke
Okay.
for that.
Is there a motion to approve the two 144 requests for the
I'll
clerk?
make a motion.
A motion on the floor to approve the 144 request for the clerk's office.
Second.
A second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Two.
Christmas.
Coroner. $1,200 for autopsy supplies. I think it's, don't probably really need it here for that. I mean,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
okay, again, I'm gonna assume Jim is approving it. So motion on the floor to approve the transfer request for the coroner in the amount of $1,200. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Came back in time.
Yep.
Courthouse operating, $10,000. Paper supplies for repairs.
What's that for, Dale?
Insulation.
He's got 3 feet, of insulation in that attic.
It's come back on the roost, didn't
He
it?
just wanted to know what your additional supplies are for the $10,000.
That's a Jane question. I didn't even have an opportunity to look at it.
And I can't tell you exactly what kind of supplies, but I do know some of those are still the whole State Board of Accounts thing where we had labor and supplies in 3,000 lines, but supplies have to be broken out into 2,000 lines.
Postage
So
stamps.
some of that's just a matter of categories.
I'll make a motion, we approve the courthouse operating transfer request.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the courthouse operating expense for the Commissioners Slush Fund. The amount of $10,000. We know it's for a wet bar, Dale. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Build your wet bar, Dale. J. It's front and center. Every time I see you, I think of macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. When we first did our first budget meeting, you were in the middle of dinner.
I've quit having dinners like that.
I'm sorry. You're asking for $19,330 to be transferred and $5,160 to be transferred. And we might as well get your additional appropriation as well too, $4,087.
Well, now you lost me.
Well, you got all kinds of stuff up here. Well, we'll take everything you got in here because you're like tons of crap. Let's take the first one, which is $19,330 to cover employee share of Social Security, Medicare, and PERF.
Taking it out of liability and casualty insurance line item.
Okay. Highway to go.
Make a motion.
Just make them all one time if you don't mind, if that's okay with the council.
That's fine.
We got a bunch. Another transfer request. $5,160. Monday to paid worker comp year end.
Yeah, I don't have that one with me.
I got it here if you want to see it.
Can we just do the, like, keeping the transfers together and then the
Sure.
other ones, and, yeah.
Okay. All right, so these are the two transfer request forms for the highway department. 5,160 and the 19,330.
Make a motion to approve the request.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the two transfer requests for the highway department. Is there a second?
Second.
A second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, reduction of appropriation request. Need funds for utility bills, $4,087.
Mm-hmm. Moving it out of communication to utilities.
Okay. Is there, let's see, he's got one more. And 5,000, no, 13,000.
Yeah.
Those are the two requests, sorry,
The reductions in one appropriation line and then an
13.
additional into a second.
I was just looking at, trying to see the numbers,
Yeah.
about one. So 13,000 and 4,087 dollars. Those are the two. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the two reduction of appropriation request forms. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes, all those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. All right.
And then he's gonna, and then
Yeah, I'm trying to find one. And then Jay's got an additional. Okay. He's got an additional request amount of $45,050 and $15,000. Cover employee bonuses passed during the budget hearing is for the $15,000. And I can find the highway one. And then it just has the negative balance, need additional to cover the negative and to have funds for November and December payments. Negative balance of what fund?
the group
I don't
health.
have a copy of that one
Okay.
with me.
That's group health insurance, they said the negative balance, and so they're just, this is all for salary and benefits related items.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the two additional requests from the highway department, amount of $45,000 and $15,000. Is there a second? Is there somebody gonna second it?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
I was looking for the clerk.
Yeah, left the end of the year, right? That's what all those things.
There's one more for the clerk. Reduction of appropriation request in the amount of $1,183.85. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve the
Second.
reduction of appropriation request. And it's been seconded. Is there any more questions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Ayes have it.
Who made that motion?
Who made the motion?
I think Jim.
Jim.
Okay, and who
Made
seconded?
it.
Everybody.
Okay. I'll put Bob down.
Fine, I heard a bunch of seconds on there. Okay, Area Plan Commission. Additional appropriation request in the amount of $5,625 to pay Mr. Wesley's bill as area plan.
Here's the area plan attorney, yep.
Okay.
I'll make the motion, pass it.
Second.
Motion approved has been seconded. All those in favor of approving the additional appropriation request for the Area Plan Commission in the amount of $5,625, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay. County Council, $63,000. To pay employee bonuses passed in budget hearings.
I move to approve.
Need a motion to approve?
Second.
Been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Health Department. $1,500 to cover employee bonuses passed during the budget hearings.
I'll make the motion, pass it.
Motion to pass. All those-
Second.
Seconded, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. I have dreams about this. Courthouse Operating Fund, $2,500 for... What's yours? Cover employee bonuses passed during budget hearings.
This is not the commissioners, is
Commissioners.
No, the courthouse operating fund
Okay.
is the janitorial,
it? Okay, thank you.
custodial, and janitorial.
Also, we're not getting $63,000.
No.
Make a motion to approve the
We have a motion to approve. Second. Second, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
See, I'm-
Cume Cap Development Fund to cover bonuses, $1,500. Motion to approve?
I'll make the motion, approved.
Motion approved, so is there a second? Somebody second?
Yeah. Yeah, Bob did.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Do we, do we have bonuses in there for the department heads? Did
Yes.
they get one in the?
If there are department heads in any of those departments, yes. Elected officials were the only ones not included
Okay.
Which we can,
of these. Yeah,
we can discuss that tonight.
no need.
Okay.
As part of your salary ordinance.
Okay, all right. 911 statewide fund, $5,000.
You gotta do the other 911 one, right?
Yeah. Both 911s, it's 2,000, one is 5,000, one is 2,000.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve the two 911 request additional appropriations to the amount of 2,000 and 5,000 to cover bonuses passed during the budget hearing. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That's what I was looking for, the end of the bottom of the pile. Okay. That is it. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion, Joe.
Second.
Michelle,
Third.
wait.
Wait.
Michelle.
Michelle's got a 144.
Sorry,
Oh,
Michelle.
sorry.
It was blank, so I...
Sorry about that, Michelle.
Okay. That's my bad, because I didn't have it on the agenda.
I need to get a 144 approved for a field officer position. Walker Folks resigned, and I'd like to replace him with Tom Tomlin. Tom is currently part-time. I'd like to move him up to full-time
Make
at
the
the
motion.
beginning of the year. And I have one other person on there that I made a mistake on the 144 you approved last month, a $400 error, and I put the correct amount on there, which would be Alana Friend to 37.1.
Okay. I think Jim made a motion, he wants to get out of here, I think.
I'll make a motion.
Made a motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Sorry, I didn't know you were back to that. So. Now, motion to adjourn.
No, I don't count like a company.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, thank you.